The Asian markets muted. Muted cues coming in from Wall Street as well.
27 European countries have agreed to a second delay to the Brexit process.
India starts voting today in the first phase of 2019 Lok Sabha elections.
11,550 is crucial. If that holds, perhaps mid-caps will see a rally.
BJP, by the sheer definition of the coalition numbers that stack up in terms of their vote percentages, would come down.
Flat as flat can get. Started 4 points higher, is now 4 points lower than Nifty.
I don't think markets are going to react based on 90 seats, exit poll kind of scenario.
The market, of course, is not doing very much. It's got about a 5-odd point change. So we're at about 11,588.
Let's go across to Archana now. She's in Meghalaya.
The market's taken a bit of a leg down, 23 points lower, 11,560.
Yeah, that was a 1:30 p.m. scare that the market gave the bulls, and after that it's once again back to the unchanged territory. It's been a very volatile day, but within a very, very tight and narrow band. As we can see, again, the market's once again trying to bounce back. Let's see. For now, it's ranged, but the Bank Nifty also down about 60 points. Crucial last hour coming up. Weekly options expiry both on the Nifty and Bank Nifty. And of course, you enter the last few hours of the first phase of polls as well. So it promises to be an interesting last hour. Surabhi, hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anuj. I am not complaining because till about 20 minutes back, I was wondering what to talk about on closing bell today. The way that chart is moving, let's just pull up some stocks. Pull up Yes Bank, day's high. Look at the buying on Maruti. That's kind of visible now. SBI is at the day's high. Titan is gaining some ground. ITC is one of the big boys that's kind of leading things higher. So to talk about what's happening on the screen now, the other facet, Anuj, that you were always maintaining, that if the 20 DMA doesn't break, which didn't break at least today so far, does that indicate that inherently this market is still strong?
You can infer whatever you want depending on your position, Surabhi. So what I would say is that I think this is now a bit of a consensus trade that you have a buy position with a stop loss at around 11,550. But what if that stop loss was to trigger at some point? Maybe not today, of course, but over the next few days. If everyone's stop loss is at a particular mark, in that case, that's a very sort of dangerous trade. So let's see how things move. One thing which is clear is that, like you also pointed out, the way Maruti has moved to high point of the day. I think Bajaj Auto, today Ashok Leyland has moved to high point of the day. I think the market's verdict over the last few days has been that at least you got one set of stocks where some kind of bottom has been made, which is the auto stocks. I mean, look at the auto index. And this is a trend we are seeing daily. First hour declines getting bought in the second half, whether it's Tata Motors, whether it's Maruti, whether it's Bajaj Auto. So that's one part of the market where clearly you're seeing buying at every lower level. Is that because that's where the valuation comfort is? That's where the risk reward is in your favor. I mean, if you're buying a Hero MotoCorp here or a Maruti here, you're buying these stocks at much below their median valuations. So that's one part of the market. I think the second part of the market is banks, especially the large private banks. In there, I think there's a bit of a profit taking which is happening. Though in the last few minutes, once again, we've seen a bit of a surge in some names. But my only submission is let's take each day as it comes. For now, if this is where the markets end, you'll say that once again that 11,550 has been respected and the market moves on from there. But if that mark is gone at some point, I think the fall after that could be rather ferocious because almost everyone's stop loss would be somewhere around 11,550. So we are in the zone where things could move either way. And today, I think move is done. Let's see what happens tomorrow onwards.
Okay, it's pretty interesting the way things are changing right now. We are all set for quite perhaps an interesting last 1 hour as well. So let's get started. Here's what's lined up on closing bell. The market is well off the lows of the day. The Nifty now in positive territory. The mid-cap index also breaking its head above water, as is the Sensex. The Nifty Bank underperformance changes quite a bit. However, the key drags of the day continue to be Infosys and ICICI Bank. There is some support coming in from the likes of HUL and HDFC Bank for the bulls. We'll be discussing a lot of these fast-changing trends with the experts, SP Tulsian of sptulsian.com, market expert Ambrish Baliga, and Abhimanyu Sofat of IIFL. Now, polling season is here. What are the key triggers for the market? Are we looking at another breakout? With the first phase of the 2019 Lok Sabha elections underway, how should you look at the portfolio positioning? We ask Gautam Shroff of Edelweiss Securities. And of course, as always, our technical experts take you through the key trading ideas for the last hour.
Okay, by the way, Surabhi, if you go to hill stations, there's written sometimes, Nazar hati, durghatna ghati. It's if you're driving, because today is that kind of a market.
Oh, absolutely.
At 1:30, look at the sharp downtick that you had.
Yes.
And look at the sharp uptick that you're seeing now.
Just look at that play out. It's a perfect W over there.
Exactly. It's a complete W. It's a bit of a cliff, so this it just reminded me of that.
That's
just take your eye off the screen and, you could be in trouble. But anyway, we have Ashwani and Mitesh now joining us for last hour strategy. So, good afternoon, Ashwani. What do you make of this pullback that we are seeing? At 1:30, we had a decline. It's almost getting bought completely. Your thoughts on the index and your stock calls?
See, there's a difference in these two issues. A, making money. B, telling where the market is going to go next. If you were ready for 11,550, 11,600 range, today was the sort of day you made a lot of money because you never expected this range to break down. And that's the sort of market we are in. The good March month is over, and now again it's back to what was happening from January to February. So chances are we are in a sideways market. No point trying to guess the direction of the next 1,000 points or next 500 points. And that way life will be very simple. Otherwise you will get chopped up because you will go short at 11,550 and go long at 11,600, 620. Those days will happen, but most of the days will be very similar to today. So my sense is keep riding on both sides, keep taking small profits, and every day that you are profitable only will add on to your kitty. Having said that, Reliance is a buy with a stop of 1320, target of 1365. NCC is a buy with a stop of 103, target of 110. HUL is a buy with a stop of 1685, target of 1740.
Okay, plenty of buys on Ashwani's list, and things are moving fast. Look at Yes Bank, 268. It is again approaching those levels of around 280. It's a swift turnaround from the lows of the day as well. We have Mitesh also with us this afternoon as always. Good afternoon, Mitesh. What do you think? Choppy day, not easy for the trader, as Anuj was also pointing out. Anything on the index now? And of course, stocks.
Good afternoon, Surabhi. So yes, it's been choppy, but see, and I heard Anuj talking about what if the stop loss of 11,550 gets hit. So you've been lucky enough for the last two times the level to be respected, got up about 200 points. Every time we hit those levels, we bounce back by 140, 150 points. If you've creamed off even 100 points out of that, twice you've made 200 points. So even if you lose 30 points once, it's totally fine. I think that as of now, at least the range is respected, and we'll still believe that this 11,550, 530 zone might hold out, and the choppiness will continue till the next 3-4 days as the moving averages still catch up closer to the price, and then maybe we'll get a decisive break on the upside. But till then, 11,550 is the level which you need to work with. I have two buy calls, both on the mid-cap side. Emphasis is a buy with a stop at 990 for targets of 1,065, and Oberoi Realty is a buy with a stop of 560 for targets of 600.
Okay, fair enough. SP Tulsan of sptulsan.com and Amrish Paliga in our studio now join us. Good afternoon. Ms. Tulsan, I wanted your thoughts first on Ujjivan. How would you approach that stock, especially given the kind of news flow that we have right now on that stock, and if indeed we have the new CEO, does that change things?
Anuj, definitely when we see the change of guard or maybe the new CEO coming at the helm of the affairs, you do see change of that happening. In fact, two classic examples we have seen in Axis Bank and Yes Bank having taken place, and we have seen that kind of re-rating having happened there. I won't be including ICICI Bank here because ICICI Bank has got it replaced with the internal promotions and all that. So yes, it does matter a lot. In fact, the kind of shift we have seen in case of other maybe manufacturing company or maybe FMCG company also has really worked quite well. So it could be by effect of that, because if you really see the Equitas and Ujjivan, both these companies have seen quite dull. In fact, though we have kept quite positive view on Ujjivan when it went public, and since starts of its listing day, and it has really done quite well for 6 to 8 months. But thereafter, the performance has gone down and all sort of things. So yes, if the new CEO is coming in, definitely that will re-rate. But one has to really wait and should not ride the momentum and take a little longer term horizon call.
Okay, it's really the financials that are catching the headlines this afternoon all over again because of the manner in which the bounce is happening. As we mentioned, SBI, Yes Bank, these are some of the other ones that are on the move. Amrish, so I'm going to ask you about banks because that's where, the real focus is. That's where we're expecting good earnings this quarter. Given the way both SBI and Yes Bank are moving, are you too late on the bus now? Or can you still kind of latch on?
Fortunately, I'm not too late because
you've been positive on PSU banks for a very long time.
Yeah, for a very long time. But even as of now, if you're talking of something like a SBI, I don't think we are yet too late because I think there's still an upside, possibly of about 10 to 15% from these levels. Yes Bank, I would be a bit careful at these levels after the sort of a move which we have seen, because possibly we should see further provisions with the new management there. So if you're talking of longer term for Yes Bank, I would possibly buy if there's a decent dip post the results. I think that's an opportunity which is there in Yes Bank. But if you're talking of PSU banks, let me again still repeat that despite the sort of a move which you have seen in some of them, for example, PNB or a Bank of Baroda or Oriental Bank of Commerce, which I've been recommending, I think there is still some more juice left. Just like I said, for SBI, possibly another 15% move from here, because the way I see for the markets is possibly the next 60 to 70 days should continue to be good. And especially, if we see NDA back, we could see a euphoria for about 30 to 60 days post that.
Okay, fair enough. Amrish, good afternoon. Would you buy Maruti at current levels? It's been showing signs of, buying every time there's a dip, it gets bought.
And again, like what you said some time back, I think most of these stocks, the auto stocks, especially Maruti, if you're talking about Ashok Leyland, and to a very large extent Tata Motors, I think they have more or less bottomed out. I think for Maruti 6,500, 7,000 band was that bottoming out and consolidation band. So I think one should start buying at these levels and surely keep some funds in case there is some correction in between, because there are bound to be fluctuations going ahead. So anything closer to 6,750, 6,800, I think is when you should fully get invested in Maruti.
Okay, well, we've been speaking about the gainers. On the losing side today, Vedanta has sort of really stood out. Stocks down about almost 4%. Couple of factors. One, of course, reports are pointing out about senior level exits, including the CEO and the CFO. And second, an overall question mark on zinc pricing as well. Mr. Tulsian, looking at today's decline, what would you suggest? What should be the course of action on Vedanta?
See, maybe the advice will be to remain away and look instead, look more on the Hindustan Zinc. I agree that the zinc prices are seen to be 2 weeks lower, but they quickly bounce back as well. So maybe, instead of taking a call on Vedanta in the non-ferrous, and if you want to take on the natural resources, probably Hindustan Zinc, if it corrects further by about a couple of percentage, that makes in fact a good entry point instead of Vedanta.
Okay, we will take a short break, but before we do that, just look at the intraday chart on CG Power. That's one stock where you're seeing all of a sudden a big buying. Just look at that move. So could get very interesting in last hour. It's one of those stocks which is a bit of a momentum play. So right now there's some sort of momentum